All right, boys, girls, and non-binary folks, my name is freaking Nick, and today we're going to talk about the champion of all Dead by Daylight survivors, the fearful leader, beloved or at least tolerated by all, Dwight Fairfield. I think one of the big questions everybody has when looking at Dwight is, him? Everybody kind of wonders, why is he the leader? And hopefully we can get into that just a little bit. You see, Dwight Fairfield is kind of like the Mario of Dead by Daylight. Aside from looking like a self-insert from Matthew Cote, he's effectively the mascot of the survivors and has had like a billion jobs. Kind of like how Nintendo says that Mario has a bunch of official job titles, Dwight has been a scout leader, a pizza guy, a manager, a tech bro, a frat guy, a camp counselor, a librarian, a theater kid, a truck driver, a gas pumper, a snake oil merchant, a Santa's helper at the mall, and a dog walker. The lore explanation for this is that Dwight didn't really have a sense of direction growing up. He lacked the charisma and the skill to really get anywhere. He's described as geeky and scrawny, spent most of his spare time playing video games, and he got bullied by his peers. I can already hear a bunch of gamer keyboards clicky-clacking going like, he's just like me for real. Dwight's very full resume comes from the fact that he was a little weighed down with credit card debt and that he just flat out struggled to hold a job. He tried to be one of those guys who dresses up for children's birthday parties, but didn't like it because of how cruel the kids were to him. Because of this, he wound up at a company called Peak 22. There, his job was just to create profiles endlessly to give positive reviews to the company to boost their image as well as boost the ego of his megalomaniac boss. The boss didn't really do anything, he just yelled a bunch of buzzwords at people and he made those people do things, and he had a bunch of money that he'd received from benefactors. After being abusive towards many of Dwight's peers, Dwight found himself in a bit of a pickle. On the one hand, he made a lot of money by doing very little. On the other hand, people he knew and cared about were being hurt by this horrible boss. As things got worse and worse, Dwight seems to have had an attitude of, man, I wish someone would do something about this. Kind of like what a Meg Thomas main does when their entire team is hooked and they're just cleansing a dull totem for some reason. What pushes Dwight over the edge is when his boss makes some huge mismanagement calls and frames Dwight's supervisor for it all. And then Dwight realizes that there's not going to be somebody who's going to step up and do anything, and he needs to be the person who does this. It was time to be the leader that he always knew he could be and exact vengeance on this evil man. So Dwight tried to make his boss piss himself. No, seriously. He gets his hands on a serum that makes it so that whoever drinks it starts to laugh uncontrollably to the point where they just pee themselves. In theory, he wanted the boss to bomb during a meeting with investors and make a fool of himself. What happened instead was Dwight spiked the boss's coffee, and the serum actually made him hallucinate and attack one of the investors. While the boss was finally taken down, this had the unfortunate side effect of having the entire company shut down, and all of Dwight's friends ended up losing their jobs. The Observer in Dead by Daylight notes that this is typically what happens to Dwight. The guy means well, he tries to help those around him, especially the defenseless, but it typically goes tits up for him. However, this was a significant moment for Dwight because it showed that even though things didn't necessarily work out for the best, tons of his coworkers who were parents suddenly lost their jobs, so it's not exactly great, but he learned that he had it in him to take initiative and do something when nobody else is able to do anything and when there's an oppressor around. Despite his fears and his anxieties and his history of being on the business end of abusers, Dwight discovered that he could be a leader. And I think that's one of the things that we often forget about Dwight because of the locker memes and whatnot. Despite his flaws and being a bit of a wimp, Dwight is the leader to the survivors in Dead by Daylight. They look up to him and he gives them direction. While his peers studied algebra and went on dates, he studied the blade. And by the blade, I mean he studied the technique of hiding from bullies. This apparently has a high correlation with surviving against ruthless chainsaw-wielding murderers, so all you nerds out there have a leg up in case you get yoinked by an interdimensional elder god. Anyway, Dwight was able to use the trauma from various points in his life and turn that into his skill set for how to survive the entity's realm, and for that, the others look up to him. Thank you everybody for watching this, and special shout out to my channel members whose names are Brotac, The Main Volley, Marsh, Fake Milk, Ornacia, and Sinner. You guys are amazing. If there's somebody who has joined since I recorded this, their name is going to be right here on the screen. I don't know, but anyway, if you want to be a channel member, you get access to my videos a couple days early, you get the emotes, you get all these kind of cool stuff, you get to be a part of a special Discord chat where we talk about stuff. So yeah, I'll catch you guys later.